The train headed for Sunset City will be departing soon.
Okay, here we are. Welcome everybody to Sunset City, a Sonic podcast for the classic and modern age. I'm Nick, and with me today I have Sirs. How you doing?
I regret many life decisions, but yet I'm here.
We also have Wayne.
Man, you know how people just have like those tanks where they just got like essential fluids around at all times. Some people keep that with water. I need that, but it's just coffee. I need people espresso machine.
So everyone's
I need
just
hot coffee all the time.
Just hyped and.
Oh, everyone's just super excited today. You have no idea.
But thankfully, we have our hype machine. Oh wait, no, that's right. Unfortunately, Pup, he's taken up his new job as a part-time astronaut. Fortunately, there were some schedule conflicts. He's currently up in space, so that's what he wanted me to tell you, and that sounds stupid. Anyway, we've got a guest. Noah Copeland, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good. And I, for one, regret nothing.
That sounds like coping to me. But then again, I'm kidding.
It's in the name.
Dude,
Oh, damn it!
It is good to have you on, and I'll be honest, the thing we are talking about today, I only just played through the first campaign last night, but I'm very excited to get into all the nitty-gritty there. But
Hey,
first...
that's great to me. I'm happy if anybody plays even half of it, to be honest. So thank you.
Saving my comments for just a little bit here. First things first, as per usual, everybody, I'm already seeing Jamal. Thank you, Jamal. Dropping a super chat. We are saving those until after the main discussion, as per usual, just so we can give you guys the time to breathe and all of us be idiots about your wonderful questions or comments. And we actually do have a very little bit of news in terms of Sonic. Not a whole lot that I can think of. I'd say like the biggest one is the high grounds drop of the keyboards that happened today. And when I say happened today, I mean, they said it was going to be for 12 p.m. Pacific time, but they still, like, as soon as you signed up for a notification said, oh, but we're going to do early access. So most everything was sold out before 12 even dropped.
Yep, they're gone.
Feel lied to.
Yeah, I would still keep an eye out for any restocks just in case. I did manage to get myself a one of the Green Hill mouse pads, and that was just all they had available.
Hey.
But then later I checked again like a second time, and I mean none of the Green Hill keyboards came back, but the keys did. So I ended up buying that, and I wonder if that's just part of the ruse. So I have to pay shipping twice. I don't know. But I think it'd just be more expensive for them. But yeah, no, since I can't get the keyboard itself, I still have that green Halo keyboard that I got. So what I'm going to do is just make that really ugly. That's the game plan. I'm really excited about it.
Sonic and Shadow one looking fresh, though.
Well, you can still get it. That's the only one that stayed in stock that entire time.
What? That's the best one.
That's
I'm
the
gonna grab it right
ugliest
now.
one. That's the. It
wanted
is
the
so
Dreamcast
boring.
one.
Yeah, the Dreamcast one was hot. That was really
It's
hot.
got my boy on it.
I get
My
that.
edgy boy.
I respect that. But
Did
it's
you
the
guys
same
ever
stock
see?
art.
Did you guys ever see that back when the 3DS was doing the like custom themes and stuff like that? Did you ever see the Dreamcast one?
No.
Yeah, there was a Dreamcast theme for the 3DS, and it played like the little UI sounds when you moved it around and such. I think it had like even the little VMUs in the background. When you close the system, if you have the volume up, when you open the system back up, it makes the disc reading sound of the Dreamcast.
Oh, I love that. I saw a modded
Yeah.
3DS that had the Saturn. I don't know what you call it, like the menu. I guess that'd be the best word for it, right? Like the menu that if you didn't have a disc in there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That I freaked out to that because I love that little spaceship so much. But yeah, that's all I really have for news. Unless you guys can think of anything else that happened this week in terms of Sonic.
I mean,
The
there was
bugs.
a game release.
Oh yeah, but
Oh, yeah,
before
there
we
was
get to that, yeah, the
But
bug.
before we get to that, there's bug fixes for Sonic
that's
Origins.
Right. Yeah.
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 I,
So they said they added features to the music player for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. What do they mean by that? I haven't gotten a chance to. 'Cause I
Sound
was,
has cheats.
you can access
oh, they
cheats now. Yeah,
yeah.
which is cute. I didn't think they were going to touch Sonic 3 Knuckles at all after Stealth's just tweet thread on the day of release of the game. But I mean, Blue Spheres got updated apparently, so the music matches better. The Tails thing is at the top of the list there, so that's better, I suppose.
What was the other one? There was like another big one.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got. I don't know how that Tails glitch got past anybody. It's on
It feels
every
like
version,
just
every
a
copy.
single playthrough, like a single playthrough of Sonic 2 should have been enough for anybody to go, wait, hold on.
Oh, I'm sure they saw it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where they're like, "Oh, darn, when's the
fix it."
release date?"
That's I mean after everything I've seen and the way Sega kind of treats their releases, yeah, it was more important for them to hit Sonic's 31st birthday. He was already a year late. Give him a couple more months. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important to any studio to meet their agreed to release date. You know,
Sure. I
because
mean,
every time afterwards that they have to fuddle with the marketing, that can be sales lost, and that's really important to them. So, it is what it is.
yeah, actually, now let's just get into it now. Because Noah, you made a little game that came out this week, didn't you?
I did. I made Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit, a remake of the Game Gear game, but like a Genesis game.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, like, I've never properly beaten the Game Gear version until last night, because I was like, I at least have to I have to at least beat the game once before I touch the 16-bit version. But it's
That's
weird,
fair.
because you call it the 16-bit version of this game. Thing is, though, I hate that game, but I love your game. So what's the deal, man?
Well, it's interesting balance, really, because it's cool that you played the original Triple Trouble beforehand, but I intentionally made the game in such a way to where that wasn't necessary, and I knew that a lot of people would be playing the game just because, oh look, cool Sonic fan game, and not even knowing what the original Triple Trouble was, right? So it's 100% designed for if you've played any of the Genesis games that we all know and love. You're gonna like this, regardless of your feelings of the original. If you do like the original, though, it will only enhance it. Or in your case, if you didn't like the original, as long as you like Sonic 3 and 2 and 1, you'll probably like this.
Yeah.
Or just flat out replace it, honestly, is what it felt like for me. I played the original back on just through the emulated version on Sonic Adventure DX, and I could stand 10 minutes of it. I applaud Nick for being able to stand more than 10 minutes of it.
Dang, the shade against the OG
But-
in here.
Dude,
But-
it's so rough, man. It's so rough. That level design, it's labyrinthian. It is a chore. Like, I see what they were trying to do, and that's why I loved your game, because it really felt like, as I was playing through it, I was like, there's some neat ideas here. I'm so drained. It's only an hour worth of playtime. Like, a first time playthrough is just an hour. Like, a repeat playthrough is going to be much faster than that, I'm sure. But then I played your version, and it was like, you took all of those elements, you either like transform them into something new and exciting, or, it was suddenly fun to play because it had the Genesis mechanics in it, or you flat out ignored some stuff. Like, I noticed, like, the fans in the second zone they just don't do the same thing that they did in the original, which was just make you float for no reason. Like, there's nothing in the level design that dictates you needing to use those, which was ridiculous to me.
Yes, I found those personally a little annoying, so I was just like, I'm not going to do that.
Man. Well,
Yeah, as for me, it was like I think I played Triple Trouble maybe one time a long ass time ago. I don't even remember how long it's been. So I don't remember a lot from it. This was a very fresh experience for me. And especially just coming off of like doing a big retrospective on Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it was amazing what a good continuation of that it seems
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah, well, thank you a lot for that because that was definitely a goal. There's sort of a balancing act that you have to do where you're like, all right, so it's a 16-bit version of Triple Trouble. So it needs to feel simultaneously like the original Triple Trouble, but also feel like uh, a continuation of Sonic 3. But it can't, if it feels too much like the original Triple Trouble, then it doesn't feel like a continuation of Sonic 3. If it feels too much like a continuation of Sonic 3, it could risk not feeling enough like Triple Trouble. So it's definitely a balancing act. And so to hear that, for me, is very rewarding to know that you feel that way, that it actually does feel like a continuation. Because that throughout all the development is just a pendulum that's swinging back and forth. They're just trying to get right, you know? Does that make sense at all?
No, it makes perfect
abs-
sense. Yeah.
No, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
And I could see
Yeah,
that
'cause-
in the design too, yeah.
Yeah, you get that sense while you're playing through the game and everything, and it's something that I think using Triple Trouble as a springboard was a good idea because it's like it does feel like it carries over a lot of the qualities of say something like Sonic 3 Knuckles, but you can also tell that there were things about Triple Trouble that lended themselves well to a bigger adventure that I feel like you took good advantage of to make it stand apart as much as reminisce.
Yeah, I definitely think the concepts are all there with Triple Trouble. The ideas are all there, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I think, held back by the hardware that it was on. So it's just take those ideas, take those concepts. What's the spirit they're trying to invoke? And then execute that spirit in the way that a Genesis game would have done it. And that's how you land at where we landed at.
I mean,
It definitely feels like it's, like you said, it feels like a very nice middle ground between a continuation of a very good game and then the design sensibilities, the ideas they were going for with the original game. Like when I was playing it, there were a lot of things where I was like, oh, I could see how that would have been done on the original hardware. And then when Nick was playing through with me, I was hearing him comment on like, this is a cool idea. I wish it was executed well. This is a cool idea. I wish it was executed better.
he's being much
then,
more
like-
polite. I was cursing the whole way through. Like,
He
you
was-
guys are being super polite to that game. You know, like, no, level design back and forth. I don't care if it was the original hardware or not. It's just, a lot of it's just bad. A lot of it is just sloppy. And I mean, that's not even the right word for it, but like, I don't know, man.
Do you ever play, maybe a little crude, do you ever play like a game and then go play like the handheld version? Like
Yeah.
Rystar.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
the Genesis version, then there's the Game Gear version. You know, or like Sonic 1 and 2. There's the quote unquote the big version, and then there's like the truncated down version that's sort of taking those ideas and doing it in a kind of cruder way. Sometimes it would help me if I sort of reversed that. I was like, okay, I have Sonic Triple Trouble. Let's pretend that this was a down port of a Genesis game. Let's now imagine what that Genesis game would have looked like in your head that would have been truncated down to this. And you sort of expand from it in sort of a backwards way. And that was pretty helpful as well.
Yeah.
And it was
Sorry, you go ahead,
sorry,
Wayne.
go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say, and yeah, that's like I was actually for something that feels so authentically Genesis. It was also there were a lot of parts that legitimately impressed me, like the train chase for one thing was definitely a big one. I did have a question, and because I feel like I'm going crazy. I don't know if this was what I thought it was or not. In the second act of the first level, there's those plants that you like jump inside of and they like shoot you back and forth. You know the ones?
Yep.
Yeah. The sound effect for those was that taken from Sonic Spinball?
At the risk of looking like a complete chump, I have no memory of where I got that sound effect from,
Okay.
or if I made it myself. There are a lot of sound effects in it. You remember, I've been working on this game for 5 years, so I've lost track of time. But
Fair enough.
there are a lot of sound effects in the game that are from Sonic 2 or 3, right? There were some sound effects in the game where, because it needed to be Genesis accurate, where it was just from another Genesis game. Like there's a couple of Rocket Knight Adventure sounds in there that just like sounded really good. And then there's a lot of sound effects that I made myself using a Genesis sound chip emulator. So what ended up being for those flowers, I have no idea.
Got you. Yeah, it just reminded me something of the first stage from Spinball. I can't even remember what made the sound in that. It just kind of triggered something in my brain.
Yeah, they're actually more inspired by Majora's Masks, if you can believe that.
Oh,
Majora's
like
Mask,
the
the little bomb
decking
flowers.
flowers.
Yes, exactly.
Got you.
That's awesome. That's wonderful.
Well, I appreciate that. That's literally my favorite game ever made. So
Yeah.
Oh,
you go.
awesome. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I put it in just for you, Wayne.
I appreciate that.
But no,
You-
what I was
you know.
commenting on the original game here, because I literally have a spin-off show just about like the portable versions of console games. Like I appreciate and I'm always fascinated to watch how something is demade or how something is made to fit in this, less powerful hardware. And Triple Trouble, always in the back of my mind, from my understanding, from what I've heard from people, was a better game because it didn't have a Master System port. Like Sonic 1 and 2, they're lesser experiences on the Game Gear because you just don't have the screen space. So I assumed from Triple Trouble, with the Game Gear built in mind, it was going to be a better experience. And a lot of that stuff they do, again, like the later levels, much more maze-like and slow you down, and you have to play Sonic in a little bit differently than you usually do. But even that aside, like, sure, you heard me just venting about this or that and the other in that original game, in the sense of like the ring placement makes no sense here, or the level design makes no sense here, or this or
Yep.
that and the other.
Oh, I just
but
heard you talking about like the labyrinthine game level design constantly.
that water level, I was drained. That was the single worst water level I've ever played in a Sonic game. But-
Did you like the water level in my remake? at
That's
all?
the thing. Like, I went to yours, and you actually took elements of that labyrinthian section, and it was just better. Like, the confidence to not only like expand upon it, because I thought it was just going to be like a prettier version of Triple Trouble, and it's not. Like, you just made it a Sonic game, where Triple Trouble took a lot of other options it couldn't take. So you take labyrinthian elements of it, but it's not the main focus. And it was so good, dude. It was so damn good.
Well, that's good to hear, because I think water level are hard to make because it's inherently sort of opposite. Sonic is about going fast, water slows you down. How do you make this fun? It's like having molasses zone and
Yeah.
having that be fun, right?
And the original
So-
game is like, I mean, it already feels slower because it's Game Gear. So it
Thick
already feels like you're in a
molasses, though.
water level. So then you get to the water level and it feels like thick water level. It's just,
Yeah.
it
And
was,
so-
it was a grueling experience. But yours was, yeah, dude. I need to talk to you about that elevator, though. You have some words about that elevator.
The elevator.
The last little area before the final boss. Because that's where I started
Oh.
losing some lives pretty badly.
Yes. I've had a lot of people tell me that is destroyed their
very
lives.
difficult.
I think that took me like 2 tries. I did okay on my second run.
It took me a whole hour.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow, dude.
Do you have a name for that robot?
That is so. If you notice, the egg robos in there look slightly different.
Yeah, they look like
we call them the
proper-
egg swats,
Ooh.
which is sort of a cartoon reference.
Yeah.
It was one of our artists, Dolphman. The yellow one is Egg SWAT Elite.
Okay.
And pro tip: definitely use tails on the elevator section if you can.
There was a stupid part of my brain when I was looking at those things, and I was thinking to myself, if I could name it, this would be the Dreadnought.
Got him.
That's beautiful. I love that.
I need some kind of Sonic enemy to be called the Dreadnought.
Well, before we gush too much into the little details here or there in level design, no, I want to actually ask you a little bit more about the journey up to this point and kind of just you as a person, like your passions and everything. Like, what's your first Sonic game? What got you into the series, and what kind of led you to become a game designer?
Cool. Yeah. So Sonic is kind of the reason I like games at all. It's one of those things, right?
Yeah.
Had a Game Boy Advance, and I was just kind of like, whatever. This is frustrating. I was at good old Walmart when I was a little child and passed it by the electronics section. And you remember when they used to have those demo kiosks where like the TV was like 30 feet in the air and you'd like break your neck just trying to play it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I see Sonic Adventure 2 on that screen and I was like, well, what is that? That is cool. I mean, you got like a cool cartoon character ripping off the door of a helicopter, snowboarding down the streets of San Francisco, and then getting chased by a truck while freaking punk rock music plays. I'm like, this is as a 10-year-old in 2002, this is everything a little boy could want. Like, there is no noun in this sentence that I don't love. Like, everything about this is great. So that's what set me down this dark path of being a Sonic fan until I die. So yeah, I would love that. I was like, when my mom would go get groceries, I'd be like, take me with you so I can go play Sonic. And I played that crap out of that demo, right? And I didn't have a GameCube and I didn't have money, so I couldn't afford to buy it. But what I did notice was there was a $10 CD-ROM for PC that was the Sonic and Knuckles collection.
Oh.
Where you get Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Sonic CD. So I'm like, I can afford that, so I bought that. And then, so I had to think a healthy balance because I fell in love with, modern Sonic from Sonic Adventure 2, but I also was playing classic Sonic, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and loved the absolute snot out of that game. And so it's sort of that sort of balance and love of both sides of Sonic and everything that sort of stuck with me throughout those years. I wanted to make games from that point. I would draw on the back of my homework level maps and controller layouts and all kinds of stuff like that, right?
Awesome.
So yeah, but I really kind of put it off for a couple years and I got more into music as like a teenager and stuff. It wasn't until I got into college that I got back into game development and was like, yeah, I still love my boy Sonic. I still always wanted to make games, so let's actually try to learn how to do that. Started downloading Game Maker, which is, I think, a wonderful program for beginners to use, and started working on that. I helped out on a couple of Sonic fan games, like Sonic Project Survival, if you ever played that one.
I've not even heard
or
of that one.
Sonic Neo Genesis. Well, neither of them exist anymore because the classic thing of Sonic fan games never getting finished.
Right.
And because those didn't work out, I tried to take those lessons and use them to figure out how to actually finish a game. And that's how I came across Sonic Triple Trouble. I was working on a film, and I was on set for the film, and we were staying on location, and in between, after we'd finished shooting for that day, somebody in the crew had a PS2 and brought out like Sonic Gems Collection or something, and we started playing Triple Trouble, and I got the idea. I'm like, you know what? This would be great as a Genesis game. I wonder if this is possible. If that surely somebody's done this already. Surely there's already somebody doing it. I look up, and D Lightyears, who's our lead artist on the game, she had made tile sets for most of the levels of Triple Trouble in a 60-bit style, just basically begging for someone to go and remake it. And no one had done it yet. And I'm like, well, this will be easy. I've already got all the art made. I could do this in probably a year.
5 years later.
Yeah, it's only 5 years later. I'm on this podcast talking about how long it took me to make. But yeah, I was into Triple Trouble because I thought it would be the one that made the most sense. Instead of trying to make an entirely original game, all the ideas were there, right? I thought it would be the easiest to make. Obviously, it's not. But yeah, that's sort of a quick bird's eye view of what brought us to Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit.
That is absolutely incredible. I was going to ask you, because while I was listening to you talk about it, like, yeah, if you're part of the generation that grew up, in love with Sonic Adventure 2, like, I was very curious to be like, okay, how do we get to Triple Trouble then? But then you went and explained the whole story, and that kind of...
That's the importance, I think, of collections, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it's so funny to me that I made a game that was supposed to be a Genesis game and was so faithful to Genesis that used the Genesis color palette, the Genesis music, everything Genesis, and yet the first Sonic game I played was on a GameCube.
Yeah.
A Nintendo console. And the first Sonic game I ever bought was a weird PC port of a Genesis game with MIDI music. So I think that shows the importance of collections like Sonic Mega Collection, which I had as a kid and played the snot out of.
Yeah.
That's
Sonic Gems
how
Collection,
I-
and even Sonic Origins. That's why I was so happy that Sonic 3 and Knuckles was coming back on Origins. I'm like, this game is the GOAT. We must pass the torch down to the next generation
100%.
to show how great this game is. I don't care if the music's changed. They must play this game. It's that good.
No, I agree completely, and hopefully they'll do the same for the adventure games. Because I grew up with Sonic 1 going on from there, but like I'm not gonna pretend like the adventure games aren't important either. Weird how those keep getting just sidelined though, but
That's a lot of work to redo those.
Well,
Yeah.
let me dip into this because it sounds like you do have some experience. Because I don't know what you do in terms of like your life outside of this game. I don't know what you do specifically, but it sounds like you have some experience either with developers or just media creation of all kinds from the sounds of things on the set of films and stuff. Holy cow.
I mean, it's all just indie stuff. I'm not like in Hollywood, just so we're clear.
Yeah, that's cool though. I mean, it's cool seeing you getting out there and just being a creative because it's clearly, I mean, we're reaping the benefits of it at the very least.
It's
Well, I hope
true.
so. I hope you like the stuff I make.
I'm
Yeah.
enjoying the hell out of it. But yeah, I mean, it
And
sounds like
that's why adventure fans are better than classic fans, Nick.
Oh God.
That's right.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
that's. I know, don't know. It's fine. You guys definitely backed the right horse with the GameCube. Definitely the most popular system of the time. Anyway, it's fine.
Yes, you had a question.
Dude, I genuinely love the GameCube design though. Like in all seriousness, like of all three of those systems of the
10 out
time,
of 10.
it's insanely beautiful. I love that machine so dearly. But
Yes.
Imagine if it was green.
I
No.
don't have to imagine it because I have two different green ones. But
You have wait. Oh, I didn't know they made green ones.
there's a Japanese exclusive one, and then there's a custom one I found on eBay. So yeah, it's fine.
Wow.
Wow. I just got flexed on so hard.
I collect green machines. I've got a problem. It's not a flex. It is a problem. It's a cry for help.
I'm that way with orange.
Yeah.
Consider this: me and Wayne walking around a convention hall with Nick, and just every single time something vaguely in his wheelhouse that happens to be green pops up, the man drops another $100.
And it wasn't
you go.
that much money the entire time. I mean, I did spend a horrific
The
amount of money.
entire time.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Nick. How much was it by the end?
I don't want to talk about it. It's fine.
All right.
I'm just very
Then I
lucky that
win.
the YouTube channel did as well as it did. And I just have to thank Ian Flynn. For some reason, like the Metal Virus video just blew up, so I was able to go on a trip and you know, buy
There you
some
go.
garbage. It's fine.
Cool. Speaking of which, talking about your channel,
Mhm.
and I believe you did some videos on some Metal Sonic designs, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So you say you've completed the Sonic and Tails campaign.
Yes.
Have you got all the Chaos Emeralds?
No, I've only found 4 so far. But
Okay, then I won't spoil it. for you.
Okay.
Oh, in the,
I was gonna
in the
say-
Sonic campaign. Oh, I got all the Chaos Emeralds because I'm not a bitch.
Wow.
How did you track
So
them
you will
all
very
down
much
in
like
one?
it.
Dude, I do you know how many times I played through Sonic 3 and Knuckles hunting down warp rings in like for that one stupid video? As soon as I found out that's how you got Chaos Emeralds in this game, I was ecstatic. I tracked them all down like 2, maybe 3 levels in, and then like the entire rest of the time I was just finding empty warp rings because you can only collect 6 emeralds. That shit was awesome.
That is a
Cool.
that's an interesting little care to the narrative there. Only 6 of them. I only found 4 so far. Like I again, dude, like I this was late at night last night. I was like, fuck, we need to actually play these games if we're going to talk to Noah. And I
all
wanted
good.
I wanted the context of the original game, start to finish. Did that, did the next one. And yeah, man, I got to tell you, like I'm really excited to dig deeper into this game because I don't know how much we want to spoil here for anybody, but the end of
know
the
that-
game's not the end of the game.
Yeah, when I beat the game the first time of the Sonic and Tails campaign, I only got 3 emeralds. Because I'm bad at hunting down warp rings. But when I beat the game the first time, I'm sitting here with Nick on the other end of the line while we're streaming. Nick's not watching my stream because he's trying not to get spoiled. And I just immediately go, "Oh, I'm not done. It's lied to me. There's more." And everybody in my chat is just going wild when that second campaign starts. And I'm just like, I can't say what this is, but I know that Nick specifically will be fucking overjoyed at what happens in the end.
I haven't gotten to play. So confession, I didn't touch this until this morning because I've been at work like all week.
Okay.
But I sat down and I just played through like the whole first campaign, and I know what the second campaign is. I just haven't gotten a chance to run through that yet.
Yeah,
Cool. Heck yeah.
We won't spoil anything here, but I gotta say,
I'm
like,
halfway through it right now.
well, and Cirrus, you were noticing, like, you were commenting on this too, and what I appreciated about this too was like, not only do you take care in terms of gameplay, there's so much I want to pick apart and talk with you about here because just I was so I was floored with the care. I gotta be honest, like I was going through Triple Trouble last night, and I was so tired and so just exhausted last night. I was like,
He was
my
grumpy.
brain, I was mad as hell. But I was just like, were the IGN guys right all those years ago? Were Sonic games just bad? This game is just not fun. And then
Crisis.
and then I went and played the 16-bit one, and I was like, oh right, oh no, this is how he's supposed to feel.
Now we're back, baby.
It's just been so long since I've been happy with anything game-wise in terms of Sonic the Hedgehog. And it just warmed my heart because, like, not only did you just, there are so many fan games out there that do just copy the physics and everything from, you know, just ROM hacks, but like the level design just kind of falls apart here or there, or this or that and the other. Like, you can tell it's a fan game. If Sega had dropped this on me, I would not have been able to tell the difference. I would have thought this was just like in the same vein of Sonic Mania or something like that. Like, just in terms, like, they don't have like you use the actual Genesis assets. Like, you're not like seeing the more animated Mania models or anything. But like, just in terms of pure gameplay and level layout, it felt like a professional product, and it just it was super fun, dude.
I think that's specifically, like, I was telling you, Nick, when we were playing through, I was just like, no, this just feels like Mania again. This feels like I'm playing Mania again, and that's amazing. I love it.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much.
I don't want to say what it is, but there was an effect, like a visual effect that kind of takes over during the train chase.
Yep.
And as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, holy shit!"
Yes.
I was like, "Let's go,
dude."
That was the first time.
Yeah. Like,
the
that
polls?
was one of the things that the polls specifically.
Yeah.
Me and Nick were just sitting there like, oh my god, that's okay. So that's right. That was the first thing that I said I wanted to compliment you on was the use of parallax scrolling. Just all the multiple layers, the stuff that was going on in the background, the stuff that looked like SNES Mode 7 stuff. Like, all of that.
The 3D effect was insane, dude. Like, what did you do with that? Like, is that with, like, how?
There's a function in Game Maker that lets you draw a sprite based on 4 corners. So then you just take each corner and you attach it to 2 poles that swing by, but you gotta literally interpolate their position to be based on the camera, and then it does it. And you have a great artist like D Light-Years and all the artists that help make the assets for it, and boom. You gotta
pass on my thanks to those folks too, because it is great. So being an idiot in terms of game design, I don't know anything about this. Would you be able to cram this thing onto a Genesis cart and play
it? So, no, you basically have to rebuild it for Genesis, right?
Right.
The Genesis is a, very old CPU inside there that Genesis came out in 89, but the CPU is even older, maybe like the 70s or something, right?
Holy cow.
You gotta write the instructions directly for it, right? As opposed to more modern gaming where you're sort of writing in abstractions that are then translated into code that the machine can read, type of thing. So it took me 5 years to do this on modern tools. I cannot imagine how long it would have taken me to make it on an actual Genesis with actual limitations, because all our limitations were self-imposed. So no, you could not work on a Genesis, though I will say this: everything that you do see and hear is possible on the Genesis if somebody was crazy enough to do it.
That's a better way to phrase it. Yeah, that's more what I meant. But yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so all of the colors, it's like the Sega Genesis can only display 64 colors on screen. So in our game, I'm sure there's probably, a time or two there where it's not. But for most part, you're playing that game. There are no more than 64 colors on the screen because that's what we would have done on the Genesis. That gives it that look. If you don't do that, whether your average person doesn't know that there's 64 color limit on the Sega Genesis. But if you just see it, if you've seen enough Genesis games and then you see this, you can just subconsciously feel the difference.
That's
Speaking of writing instructions under a different context, of course, I wanted to pay note to the instruction manual in the zip file.
yeah.
That was adorable. I like that it was like, did you guys like just make a manual and then keep it all in black and white and then like scan them?
So in that case, it was all done in digitally, right? Again,
Okay.
D Lightyears, in addition to being a very good pixel artist, she's also very good at making things look old. It's just it's a weird talent, but she loves retro stuff, old comic books and things like that. So if you saw any of the fake magazine ads that we did with like Knack pointing the gun and Sonic and everything that was made to look like a 90s thing, really I just gave that to her and she went nuts. She has these she's like perfected these techniques to make things look like they came out of an old 90s magazine that's been crumpled and wrinkled to death. The fake magazine ads.
It was one of the first things I saw before booting up the game, and I just wanted to acknowledge that because I thought it was cute.
I'm glad you acknowledge it because, as you know, no one ever reads the manual. So thank you.
I didn't read the manual, so yeah, no, you're right.
Yep, got him. See, there's one among us. It always happens.
I guess I really am just the pro gamer here today, huh? What happened?
I guess so. I guess you are, Wayne. Congratulations. You win the gamer crown. I'll put it on your head myself next time I see you.
I'm scared of you getting anywhere near my head.
That's fair. I'm gonna go to Burger King right now and get it for you in a Sharpie. I'm not kidding.
I'm very glad that you
Sorry, go ahead.
very glad that you mentioned the level design specifically, because of the 5 years, that might be where the most time went.
I can
learn
tell.
basically.
Yeah.
It will. Thank you. It's not like I knew how to make levels and spent 5 years making levels. I spent 5 years learning how to make Sonic levels. For every level you played, there's probably 10 that you never played that were really bad and terrible, and just a lot of work studying. Thanks to like speedrunning and ROM hacking, there's maps available of all the Sonic games. You can just see the map, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I study those things like a test. Just trying to figure out like how this works, what makes this part fun, and just a lot of just real research. The advantage of making a fan game is that you have a gold standard. A lot of times when you're making a game, when I've worked on like other games, just like smaller games and stuff that were not fan games, that were original projects, you spend a lot of your time going like, does this idea even work? If I can finish this, will this even be fun? In the case of a fan game like Sonic, you know that Sonic's fun. We've all played a Sonic game and we've all had fun with it. So we know that if you play my game and it's not fun, it's not because because the fundamentals of Sonic gameplay are inherently broken. It's because I'm not doing it right. So it's kind of like what do they say when if you ever heard that people that are responsible for like identifying counterfeit money is they just study what real money looks like so much and so hard that they can instantly tell when it's not there. And so that's basically what I had to do with Sonic levels to try to imitate it.
That comparison makes sense because like I don't know if you've played any trading card games before, but one of the ones that I play a lot, Magic the Gathering, pretty much anybody at my local card shop, if you hand somebody a fake Magic card, within like a quarter of a second, they can identify all the flaws in it just because we've handled so many thousands of them.
As you played it so much.
Yeah, when you see one that looks wrong, you know what to look for. You're just like, this typeface looks weird. Something about it feels real off. And other, like somebody who doesn't play the game will look at that and go, it looks like a Magic card. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right. Yeah.
So that comparison makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
That's really what it's like. I don't have any particular, genius smarts or skills or anything. It's just a matter of looking at the level design and just knowing what that's supposed to look like, and until you can make it.
I think your hard work paid off, man. We keep going back to this one specific level, and I think it is just like, I think it's the crown jewel, honestly, in terms of the package. It's like start to finish. I thought it was just very tightly put together, but there was this one section of the original game where I first started off with like, oh, that's a really cool idea. And then it turned into like, this is just so badly put together. And that's the train level. The train level in the original game, you get to the goalpost, and then the level keeps going. I'm like, oh, that's really fucking cool. And then it just turns into an auto runner. You get a few rings, and then you do this mindless jumping and hitting badniks for a little while, for like a minute or 90 seconds or something. It's much longer than it needs to be. It's not challenging. It's boring as hell. And then you get to the train at the end there, and the only real challenge is that the camera is just going back and forth a whole bunch. So it's just kind of hard to just get your ground. So like I ended up dying from just shooting this one attack. It has one attack. It just shoots a little spike ball, and that is it. And it killed me twice. And it was embarrassing as hell. And it's just because of the stupid shaky camera. It's not challenging, but every time you die, you have to go do that mindless auto-scrolling thing with no challenge to it whatsoever every single time. And it turned into like, oh, this is a cool idea, to, oh, I hate this. I hate this so much. And then you got a hold of it. And suddenly it's this insane train chase from cart to cart. And Knack, which I'm going to get into him, or Fang, however you want to call him, I'm going to get into him later. And just like, it's this completely unique level. And it's incredible. It was so good.
Wow, thank you, man. Yeah, well, the train is the money shot from Triple Trouble.
Yeah.
I think it's the thing most people remember. Because it's different. There's not really any other bit like that. And the song really sticks out. That's everyone's like favorite song, right? So there was a lot of pressure to do that train right. It's like, if there's one thing I had to get right, I had to get the train right? So that was made maybe in the last year of development. I kept putting it off because of the pressure, but by doing it late, I was able to use all the lessons I'd sort of learned. But really what I wanted to do was just think of, I'm glad you really liked it, because I really wanted to flesh it out and do like pretty much everything possible with the train, right?
Yeah.
You're off the train, you jump on the train, you get knocked off the train goes through a tunnel, and that's a nice change of pace. Knack blows up the train, and then you defeat the train head with the classic ending and everything like that.
And then it gets crushed too. I love that little extra bit at the end there. It blows up, and then the face gets crushed.
Yes. Comedic timing.
The fact that it had like legitimately funny slapstick was kind of the cherry on top.
Just, man, it was just like, this is what I wanted from, like, if there's gonna be a continuation from classic Sonic, like I didn't want just to repeat the same stuff that we had done in those games prior to that point. I wanted to see these unique ideas kind of fleshed out, and a chase scene in a Sonic level, like a train chase in a Sonic level, is just, yeah, it's unique and it's brilliant, and it was super
I think
fun.
that's my advantage. Thank you. I think that's the advantage of having Sonic Adventure 2 be kind of the first game I played, and then Sonic 3 being the next one after that.
Yeah.
If you look at sort of the direction of Sonic from Sonic 1 to 2 to 3 and the adventure games, there was an increasing emphasis on like cool action set pieces like that. Like Sonic 3 starts with Angel Island getting set on fire. Like that's cool. Sonic Adventure 2, again, you're snowboarding, you got the truck chase and all this stuff. There's these big action set piece moments like that, right?
Right.
And so that is really what I wanted to bring forward with the train. I'm like, I don't want this to just be a level that happens to be on a train. I want it to feel like it's an event. It's a memorable thing that really sticks out.
But you did manage to mix in not just the spectacle, but the gameplay aspect, which I feel like a lot of more modern Sonic games goes one way or the other. More bluntly, like the Boost games get a little bit too spectacle. Like, it looks nice that first time through, but at the end of the day, you're not really interacting with whatever's happening. The train chase, you have to be on top of it the entire time. You have to be doing something. You can't
Yeah,
just
so
be
it's
a bystander.
it's important to have substance too, right?
Yeah.
You have to have substance and not just the spectacle, right? And that's what I think was a big push to make you go on the train. Because if you're off the train, you have to keep up with the train, and then it's an auto runner, and that could lean. An auto runner for 4 minutes could get a little boring.
Yeah.
But if you're on the train, then it can come a little bit more like a traditional level because you're moving with it and that type of thing. And going back and forth, if you notice that the level goes back and forth between auto running and being on the train and back and forth a couple of times to try to mix up that pace and keep that same feel of a fast moving level with maintaining the substance. That was the key that I managed to figure out when making that level.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that is kind of the secret sauce of Sonic at the end of the day is like, yeah, like what made him special from Mario was that extra little bit of spectacle, but underneath all that was just a really fun platformer. And it even Sega themselves kind of lose themselves into what that balance is, but I kind of feel like this fan game is going to stand out among the greats of any of these fan games. Like, this is going to be compared to other video games in the mainline Sonic series. It's going to be compared. It's already superior to the original game it's based off of, you know? And I know, like, a Game Gear game is not that high of a bar to hit, but, like, this is standing toe-to-toe with games I've always considered, like some of the greatest ever created. So...
Oh, my word.
It's just, it's really good, dude. Like, I think people don't understand, because I certainly don't, like, how hard it is to find that balance when Sonic is made to feel like this is just like the most natural thing on the planet, like just rolling a ball. Like, it's supposed to feel natural and fun and freeing.
It's kind of the idea of having it like a big physics playground.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, Sega themselves can't seem to find that, you know? It's really apparently hard to find that balance, but this project does that. It's incredible. And I'm afraid to get into spoilers here, but I also wanted to comment on, because Cirrus, you were saying this and that and the other during your playthrough, like how you managed to actually tie this in to the established lore that's already there in the games, because as the original game was, it doesn't make any damn sense in terms of whatever the timeline is for Sonic.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the thing that I'm kind of proud of is that I don't actually do anything that contradicts the original game.
Right.
It essentially just fills in empty gaps with information that makes it all make sense, but it doesn't do anything that contradicts what you do see in the original game, right?
Yeah.
I if you go back and play the original game, you can almost imagine that those gaps are filled and you still have a good time. There's nothing that sticks out, right? And that was sort of a puzzle, basically, to try to figure out. And it was one of the first things I worked out. I'm like, all right, if I'm going to sit down and do this, I love Knuckles a lot. So the first thing is like, okay, if this is going to be a Genesis game, then it's going to be after Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But it's also really disappointing to me for Knuckles to have this great character arc with Sonic where they team up at the end, only for him to turn around and be like, "Don't you're bad again." So
yeah, the way you without getting into spoilers, the way that you made that section make sense, that plot point, it was the difference between what was the way we were talking about it yesterday, Nick. We're like, the plot of the original Game Gear games, it felt like the Dragon Ball Z movies.
Yeah, that's how I compared it. It was like, it's just a side canon that's not really important to the Genesis games, which in itself kind of just makes it feel like a lesser experience to begin with, right? Like, it doesn't actually matter. The Genesis games matter. This doesn't actually matter. It's just a whatever. It's just, we're bringing in some elements from the Genesis games. We threw it onto the handheld. Here you go, you stupid kids, enjoy. But
yeah, and then the version that we have here, it's what happened when Akira Toriyama got a hold of Broly and went, I'm going to make this one canon and I'm going to make it work. Here you go.
I'd go a step further than that, though, because canon Broly and movie Broly are two entirely separate characters. Like, this game here, it took the spirit of that original game. and just made sense in the canon, just by, like, as Noah said, like, oh, well, all these elements are here. What if we just did this? And then suddenly everything makes sense. Like, that is all that took. And I don't know. I just appreciate the hell out of it. Just that
I'm glad you like that a lot.
it's just those little things that the fans are going to notice, right? Like, that's where it really comes down to, is like, yeah, the level design, and the mechanics and everything, all of that is top tier. That's the most important thing as far as I'm concerned. But, like, then going so far as to be like, yeah, but what if we just did a couple little things here in the story, just for the sake of it? Let's make sense with everything else that's happening out there.
Yeah, have there been any Easter eggs or references to other Sonic games that you guys have picked up on or anything?
Oh, yeah, there's a few I noticed, but I'm sure I didn't catch all of them. But
Yeah, have you guys gone to the opening level with the lightning, switched to Tails, and stood still?
Yes. Oh, I actually really liked that.
Huh?
I did
Wait,
not
what
do
happens
that.
there?
If you swap to Tails and the lightning strikes, he does the cowering animation from the
Oh.
Sonic OVA.
Oh, that's
He's scared of lightning. What could I say?
oh man, I don't know if anyone's beaten the original game or not, but, like, man, there's just a song medley in this game. I just it made me so happy. Oh my god, one of the boss fights, one of the medleys, and then you included all the themes, and I was so
There are
happy.
4 in there. Yes,
I was so happy.
4 themes.
Oh.
Yeah. Really, that came down to, it's funny. I'm glad you really like that. There's a lot of funny things that happens in creativity sometimes where you make something for a kind of silly reason and then it ends up making it better. In that case, I was like, okay, what theme do I use for this character? There are a lot of themes to pick from, and I'm afraid to pick just one and then somebody say, how come it wasn't this one? I'm like, well, what if I just do all of them and just mix them together? That could be a disaster, right? And then I think it actually turned out surprisingly well.
I genuinely was surprised to hear how well it worked, because I've heard mashups of 2 specific themes that just haven't worked out at all because they're just so radically different. But I mean, yeah,
and on a
tie them
Genesis
together.
sound chip.
Yeah. So that's even that's like a demake of a lot of the themes that were already available, like in official canon. So it was super fun, man.
Thank you. A lot of stuff like that that's difficult to do because of the Genesis limitations. Like, I really, I mean, obviously we talked about the story, and, like, obviously I love Sonic lore and stuff. I did kind of want to push the storytelling forward a little bit, because that's, to me, is the natural progression. If you look from Sonic 1, there was, like, hardly any, like, sort of strong narrative moments. Sonic 2 has that whole ending sequence with Tails and the tornado. Sonic 3 has great stuff with, like, Knuckles being betrayed and all that stuff. And then, so I'm like, all right, what's the next thing on there? It's really hard to tell a story with, first of all, without dialogue. There can't be any dialogue.
Right.
There's no voice acting. And so all you're left with is visuals, right? But everything we know about visual storytelling involves, like, camera angles, and just, like, you can use different shots and perspectives. Now you have to tell it all from the side, and it has to switch in and out of gameplay, right? So it was absolutely storytelling hard mode to try to make all that work. So you sort of, but the advantage of that as a creative person is when you have very strict limits, it sort of forces you to make certain decisions that you may have not made otherwise, and it sort of takes you out of your comfort zone. And sometimes that can end up giving you a better final product.
Just, yeah. I don't know, man. Like, you made it work. You made it work really damn well. Congratulations.
I also
Thank you.
Also just have to say, as a huge Metroid fan, I appreciated that there was a self-destruct sequence in here.
Yes.
I knew there's a couple things
That
in there. I
was-
was like, Wayne's gonna just, goosebumps
Yes.
for that boy.
We got the opening level is a Metroid reference as well. To Super Metroid.
Oh, it is.
The red eyes showing up, and then you
Yeah.
start with the boss fight.
Yeah.
And you lose all your powers at the start too, like any Metroid game. You lose all the emeralds.
I want to ask you, just because I'll be this little nitpicky little son of a gun. So is hypersonic canon in your world? Because we had supersonic there. So I just want to know, in your brain, how do you think Sonic 3 and Knuckles ended?
That's such a weird thing, man. So like, because hypersonic has been explicitly said to be not canon. Since then, I did avoid it in this game, just to be like,
It'd make it a little bit harder to try to figure out super emeralds when you have to knock the chaos emeralds loose.
yeah, and there's also that element too. So I'm just like, we'll just stick with super.
Yeah.
Just make it easy.
Fair enough. Not even the
Fair
fan
enough.
world. My poor hyper. My poor boy. Well, for real though, it's like a couple other things I wanted to gush about real quick. The soundtrack, for starters.
Mhm.
Like hearing those old Game Gear tracks, but through a Genesis sound font, or I don't know how you'd pronounce that or describe it. Is that the right word?
I believe that's one of the super chat questions. But no, sound
Oh,
font
is
is
it?
not the right word.
It was, yeah.
Is that?
And
Yep, Trey. There we go. No, that's how I know that stupid word. Trey.
he knows that word triggers me slightly.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, because sound font is okay. I'll just be a nerd really quickly, but sound font is a particular file format that stores samples, and then you can use those samples. It's .sfz, I believe. It's an actual file format, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people use it to mean just like the sound of or the timbre of. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you know. I gave the example. It's like you can't like look at like a painting and be like, "That's a really nice JPEG." There, it's like JPEG is a specific file format. It doesn't mean picture, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
I'm saying. But yes, the Genesis, I would say sound chip because there's an actual physical chip
Mhm.
inside the Genesis hardware that gives it that particular sound. That's manufactured by Yamaha, and then obviously it's been emulated since then. But I usually say sound chip when referring to the Genesis
Okay,
sound. But
good to know.
carry on. Sorry about that.
No. That's good to know. Like if I'm gonna be dabbling in this world or be like literally paid to talk about video games, I should probably know a thing or two about video games. So I appreciate any lessons I can learn here. So the Genesis sound chip, that first level, what were your inspirations in terms of transforming those songs? Because I got a lot of, and I want to know how you guys pronounce it, but I'm going to pronounce it the way I pronounce it. But I got a lot of Rise Star vibes from that, which I guess
Yes,
in turn
from
would
which
be
song?
Sonic Team vibes in general. Just the first, like the Great Turquoise, whatever that first level is called.
Yes, especially Act 2. Right?
Yeah.
I dialed up the Rise Star there because I love that soundtrack, to be honest.
Really damn good.
It is. And so yeah, it was again a lot of research and a lot of study, right? What's good about music is you can sort of have it on in the background. You know, I'm at a job where I can listen to music a lot of times while I'm working. So I may have listened to thousands of hours of Genesis music in this past 5 years, just soaking it in. What can this chip do? What does it do well? What does it not do well? Taking up emulators and bringing up, there's really great debug options to see like what the sound chip's actually doing. All the tricks they use. You're only limited to 6 channels, so what do you use those 6 channels for, and all that kind of stuff. So again, a lot of research to try to get that the strengths of the Sega Genesis sound chip. And I think the advantage that we had, I didn't compose all of the music, I did most of it, but we had wonderful composers like John Tay and DV2 help out as well. The advantage that we have is that actual Genesis composers were figuring it out still. But we have the entire library of the Sega Genesis and the homebrew stuff that's continued afterwards to look at and use that years and years of knowledge to our advantage to try to make the best use of the Sega Genesis sound chip the way we can. And in my opinion, Rise Star as a late Genesis game that came out, I think the Saturn may have already been out by that point or was about to come out.
It was around that time, yeah.
Yeah, so there were pros by that time.
Especially
you can actually
Sonic
get
Team, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you could. Rise Star does this thing where it actually gets 2 sort of samples to play at the same time. Traditionally, only drums are sampled, but you have that one level in Rise Star where there's both drums and voice at the same time, and that's just witchcraft. I don't even know how they did that, but it was that's absolutely incredible. So Rystar was a giant influence there of like studying that. There's another Rystar reference at the start of Robotnik, our version of Robotnik Winter Zone, directly references the planet Freon from Rystar as well. The little bell at the start. It's just sped up. If you go back and listen to it, I'm sure you can probably hear it.
I'm gonna give that a listen to. I'll be honest, like that's one of the spots where I did find my one of two glitches in that game.
Oh no. Still working on bugs.
No, I know you
promise.
are. I know you are. Like this is an incredible effort. Like I'm much less forgiving on Sega releasing Origins the way they did, or Colors before that, as opposed to like a fan game made by a small team. You just put it out.
Yeah, I watched
it. Love it.
Thank you for that, because I watched a review where somebody was saying it's like they said the same thing. They're like, I'm more forgiving of a fan game because they're working with a small budget. I'm like, small budget? How about no budget?
You don't have no budget?
Yeah. Oh my god.
100%.
That's insane. No, man, like it's actually, that reminds me of a particular mechanic I thought was pretty smart in Origins, but I liked how you implemented it a little bit better, and that's being able to have another chance at the special stages at the cost of a life.
Yeah.
So I
actually have to give credit to Sonic Time Twisted for that. That's where that idea came from.
Okay, interesting. So that's been around for a few years, 2 years at this point then.
Yeah, they did that first, and I thought that was really smart. I thought, lives, to a certain point, lives kind of get useless.
When you get good enough at the games, for these games specifically, 100%.
Yeah, and also when it's not an arcade machine anymore, you're not worried about popping in quarters. Like, most modern platformers, like I think like the latest Crash Bandicoot, don't have lives anymore because they don't serve as much of a purpose as they once did. So that's the cool thing that I thought Time Twisted did that was really smart, was giving lives more, give you more of an incentive to collect 1-ups, and lives is the cost of using them as a currency for trying out the special stage. So I'm glad to hear that y'all enjoyed that as well.
It was a nice risk reward situation there. Yeah, because I really thought that was a smart idea in Origins, despite how limiting the rest of the anniversary mode was, as far as I'm concerned. That's another topic for another time, but yeah, I thought it was just like, just bring it into the live system as it is, and it worked out quite nicely. Because I think lives were still, I mean, my first playthrough of that game, there's always going to be like a risk I'm going to game over if I don't know the layout, but I rolled through it without too much issue. But yeah, Special Stage 4, that was starting to give me a bit of grief there, and I was starting to sweat.
What's interesting is everyone seems to have their own special stage that's the one that gets them. It hasn't been anyone consistent for me, so like if it was 1, I might consider balancing it. But everyone's been like, dude, 3 is terrible. What are you doing? And then other ones are like, nah, man, 5 is the one that sucks. It's just
I was gonna say, that's why I'm holding off, because until I need to play more of this. But by the time I got to 4, it took me about 3-4 tries to get through that. But I was like, oh, he's getting mean. Oh no, what's 5 and 6 gonna be?
Would you believe that I was afraid that special stages were going to be too easy and going to be criticized for being too easy?
No, I don't. I think you're a liar. I think you're lying to my face right now. Are you kidding me?
No, dude, that shows you a huge challenge of game development that a lot of people don't realize, is when you're playing your game and you're testing it constantly over and over, you lose perspective really quick.
I've heard
and you
that.
become a pro at your own game.
I've heard that. That is
so I'm sitting there going this is baby level difficult, because I know I made it. I know the insides and out. I have everything. I have the precognition. I know to turn on that corner because I know what's around the corner, because I'm the guy that put it there, right? So that really skews your perspective and stuff. So I was so scared that they were going to be too easy. And if anything, it's the opposite, probably.
Well, they're not. Sure as hell not.
Yeah, they're definitely not too easy, but they feel good though. That's the biggest thing for me, is that they feel good. When I was playing, there were people in my chat that were like, "Oh my god, these special stages are such an improvement over what was in the original." And I was like, "Yeah, no. The idea that the plot is that you're trying to deal with Knack getting emeralds with you, and in the special stage you're literally just fighting him to get an emerald. No, this is perfect. I love this."
I love that he's a constant problem through the whole game too. Like he's just
Yes.
I forgot he was in the original game when I was playing through it last night. Like,
Yeah, that was something that was important to me. Is like, if this is Sonic Triple Trouble, then I want all three troubles troubling you throughout the game. You know.
yeah, and a lot of those ideas, which I was even as a kid, like I was playing through and I was like, I'm remembering why I didn't like the Game Gear games as a kid. 'Cause I did love all these ideas, and I was excited to see Triple Trouble bring in a brand new character, bring back my boy Knuckles, and the little I remembered, I love the idea of giant versions of Badniks as end game or not end game end level bosses. And just playing through it last night, I was just like, this fucking thing. I forgot Knack was in the game, and then I ran into him, and he was sleeping on the last level.
Sleeping on the job. Yeah, so those special stages are just 2D regular levels in the original game, where there's sort of the precedent in classic Sonic that the special stages are always some sort of 3D thing that's sort of different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was thinking the logical progression. Have you guys ever heard of a game called Panorama Cotton?
Yeah.
Cool. So this is a Japanese-only Genesis game that was the inspiration for these 3D special stages because it was really pushing the sort of that 3D
makes
perspective.
sense.
That,
And
yeah, I
the
can
Mickey
see it.
Mania one, too. We'll talk about that in a minute. You go ahead and finish your point.
But yeah, so that was the idea, was making trying to keep that 3D thing, but then that sort of left us with, well, there's sort of that aesthetic and those special stages from the original game special stages. Do those go unused or what happened? So I'm just curious if anyone has stumbled across them yet and that secret, or am I giving too much away?
You're giving me more reason to go back. Like, I'm excited to, like, when we're done with this, I'm probably going to go back and play more of this. I got more things to get done today, but I'm playing more of this game tonight. There's no two ways around it. I'm excited to play a Sonic game again, and it just warms my heart, man.
That's good. And yes,
Warms
Mickey
the
Mania.
cockles of your heart.
Panorama Cotton. I don't know why we were talking about the special stages this long, and that would have been like the one spot where I've been like, how did you pull that off? But yeah, Panorama Cotton, that is, wow.
Deep cut.
That is,
Deep
it's
cut.
not a deep, it's not even just a deep cut. Like, that game is a technical wonder for what it did, considering the
It's
Genesis.
insane.
But yeah, also the snowboarding section too. Like, that was like the only game I can think of that had anything like that was like Mickey Mania.
Mickey Mania, as well as the Lion King on Sega Genesis, had something similar.
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
An indie game called Beard Blade that's really good if you guys haven't played. That
I've
came out
not.
recently.
I'm gonna check that out too. That's
Yeah, so I was just like, I want something like that because there's that feel of. What's funny is how many times, I talked about how strict we stuck to the Sega Genesis limit, is how many times people came to me and would say, like, shake their finger, be like, that's not possible on the Genesis. That couldn't, like, they're trying to, like, limit it and stuff. I'm like, if you, like, look at Genesis developers at the time, they were trying to push against those limits as much as they possibly could. They were trying to show off, like, cool effects and stuff. I mean, just look at the Adventures of Batman and Robin, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to do, is get
Yeah.
that spirit. Is throw in those effects like that, those Mickey Mania effects. There's two Mickey Mania references. There's the spinning tower in Atomic Destroyer as well. But yeah, you got
That's-
to put that stuff in.
Yeah, the spinning tower reminded me of the way that you like the area that you fight Metal Sonic in Mania.
It
felt
made
a
me,
lot
it
like
made me
that
think
again.
of Kirby's Adventure because they had like this weird kind of effect that just.
I
blew
looked
me
at that
away.
as well as a reference.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
100%.
amazing. Oh man, I'm having so much fun. This is great. Oh, I love this game. Oh man. Well,
Yes, I'm glad you guys are picking up on the non-Sonic references too, because it's a mix of just a lot of games I like from that era and that time as well. So awesome, the Metroid, Kirby, all of it.
Wayne and I were literally joking before we got on here about like I forgot what it was, but I was just so excited to talk with Wayne because like you've played other things outside of Sonic. Oh my god.
Heck yeah.
Oh man, that was something special about the 16-bit era, and I guess like Kirby's Adventures is like that's a tail end. That the 16-bit systems were out at that point, but like it was just like hints of graphical, just tricks and stuff like that. Like before we got to full on 3D, we can have whatever we want in video games. Like it was just cool to see those little effects just randomly pop up in video games. Sonic was always just a showcase of that with the special stages, of course, but But yeah, like Kirby or Mickey or something, where you're just playing through the game and then suddenly you're in a new perspective with the level, and it just, even
Yeah, there's something
today, it's just
admirable.
exciting about it. Yeah.
Some admirable about knowing what the limits are and seeing people push up against those. Because now it feels like with games, obviously you can't, but you kind of feel like you can do anything,
Yeah.
right? And so when you know that you can't and you see people do the impossible, it just makes you kind of go like, wow, that's really special, you know? And
Yeah.
you see that a lot with late console cycle games, which is what this game in my mind hypothetically was. This is the Sonic Genesis game from 95 that never came out. So what would that look like? It's got to use those effects.
I miss the days where we had those limitations because games were able to wow a lot more than based solely on the fact that people got away with stuff. Like Nick, me and you were talking about God of War 2
Yeah.
when we were playing this, and like how as a late PS2 game, that game was doing things that you were seeing done on the PS3 and 360, but they were being handled on the PS2, which was like the weakest of that console cycle. And yet it was handling all of it just fine. You're just like, oh my god, this was what this console could have been doing this whole time.
Yeah, the sense
Yeah,
of scale in that game was incredible. But yeah.
That's what I spoke about earlier when I was like that limitations sometimes force you to make decisions and things that you couldn't have done normally. So
Yeah.
yes, we do miss those limitations in a certain way.
Art thrives
Like-
within its boundaries. I had somebody.
100%.
You go ahead, Wayne.
like Xenoblade Chronicles running on the Wii somehow.
Yep.
No, but I was thinking of somebody left a comment on my Klonoa video recently because I'd made some mention about like, well, maybe they didn't want to bring back the original graphical design of the first game or put it in as a unlockable or something, just because like maybe a modern fan base would find it ugly. But somebody was just like, yeah, but I kind of judge things on like what the hardware can pull off. And I was like, I think a lot of gamers actually do that more often than we don't. I don't think it's just an age thing. I still think anyone that cares about the craft will go to a PlayStation and understand what it can do and appreciate what it can do. And when it sees it excel, or they see the developers like they found some workarounds or did something really clever with, these mechanics, or not mechanics, but just what they had in terms of tools, I still think it shines in its own unique way.
Yeah,
Or maybe I'm a
I don't
grumpy
actually
old
like
man.
to use the term. I don't like to use the term that a game like aged poorly or anything. I try to avoid that because to me, in my mind, I'm like, what was happening at the time? Because that's all we can expect out of it, right?
Yeah.
If it was doing what was impressive on a PS2 during the PS2 era, who cares if it doesn't look like a PS4? Like that's, to me, the context is very important.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I get super just flustery anytime Pup starts talking about Super Mario 64 or something like that. Just no. Let's knock it off.
That game changed the world.
It changed
of
the
gaming.
world, and it's impressive that it still is playable today. Like, just
Yes.
I'm not hearing it. Not hearing
Yeah.
anything against that game.
So even if it was a chore to play today, I don't think it is.
It's
That
not.
game did everything it could have done right.
Yeah.
And there's a quote from one of the Hauser brothers, who are the main people in charge of Rockstar. He
Yeah.
said, anyone that makes 3D games and thinks they don't owe anything to Mario 64 is either stupid or lying. I love that quote.
No, 100%. Yeah, that's why I don't really do the Sonic Adventure Mario 64 comparisons. It just gets embarrassing after a little while. I still think that game's amazing. I don't care what anybody says. We could probably get into a whole discussion about the actual quality of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 as opposed to how people talk about it today, but
Yeah, let's not, because I
Let's
love
not.
those games to death, and I really don't care what anyone else thinks.
I respect that. I think everybody at this table loves these games. It's just like it comes down to, okay, but which one do you like more than the other? Because that's what the conversation always.
Who's your favorite of all of your children? Choose now.
Yeah. Yeah, with like Sonic Adventure 2 and stuff, people coming to me like, I'm like, I love that game. It's one of my favorite games. They're like, yeah, but what about these flaws? I'm like, oh, I know. You don't think I know that?
That's
Dude, I love
the other thing too, right? Like I don't think people understand that about some of these games that came out of the day. Like we knew they were there back then. That's how they improved
yeah.
from there, because we noticed that shit back then. Like, yes, we know there are flaws. This isn't a 20-year-old discovery. I promise you, we knew.
Yeah.
Like, we knew then, we know now. we enjoyed the game then, we enjoy it now. We just enjoy it with more ability to retrospect now, but that doesn't make us enjoy it less.
Yeah, and I understand maybe it may not hold us up well to new people because it's a new game. But listen, I fell in love with that game when it was still young and skinny. But now, sure, maybe it looks a little fat and flabby, but it's the heart that I fell in love with, and that heart is still there.
Eggman's balding a little bit, but he still looks great.
That's right.
Oh, I offended Pup, and I'm not going to read a single word he said because that's not what you said, you baby. It's kind of what he said. No, he said it's historically fun to play. Pup, you little gremlin! Like you never talk like it's my personal opinion.
That man has literally said that the game doesn't hold up.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it.
In those exact words.
You can yell at me about it next week when you come back from space. Hope you're safe up there. All right, well, guys,
you know he's gonna end up falling into your backyard, right?
I mean, yeah. Oh, that's exciting! I'm working on his room this month. I'm so excited. I've got little party plates ready for him.
Oh my god!
But yeah, gentlemen, I don't really have anything else to gush about in terms of the game. Noah, before we get into the super chats and some of the questions that we have here, is there anything you kind of wanted to dive into a little bit more, since it's just kind of been mostly me just yelling at you about how much I love this game?
Cool. I guess the only other thing I would say is to anyone that wants to make a fan game or make a game at all is learn this big takeaway that I had from the experience. To know that the skill set of creating things and the skill set of finishing things are two different ones. And that's the mistake I think a lot of people make, is they get really good at the creation thing. They're a really good artist, they're a really good musician, but that editorial side of finishing things is a separate skill set.
It is.
And you have to get good at that in order to actually finish the game. Because I think that might be one of the things I am most proud of, even if the game was kind of bad, is that it got finished, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Because they never get finished. But I finished it. I did what I was going to do. I achieved my goal. I'm now in the post-release phase. I can turn that page on the book, and I'm like, heck yeah. There you go. That's what I would say. Know the difference.
No, that makes sense. The people trying to... Anybody can start a project, and you can build something great, and then be like, it's in patch 1.5 point. It'll be done eventually, maybe. And then 8 years later, don't worry, guys, it'll be done eventually. Like, you keep on going on as long as you can.
Yes. Get good at the art of finishing things.
Yeah, it is. It's incredibly important. Like, even like just a video, like just doing a video, editing a video for YouTube. It does require, like, I do get into like these gaps of like I'm not getting stuff done because the writing's done. Oh, now I gotta get to the recording, but now I gotta get to the editing, and it's just, yeah, like actually getting a project done is so incredibly important. So yeah, but yeah, thanks for all those fun little things. Let's get into super chats, guys, and we'll go from there. We have them in the back room.
Okay. Actually, there is, if I may, one little thing I did want to say real
Sure.
quick that I wanted to say earlier about the music. Okay. There's a plot twist in the game. We have not spoiled it later. But knowing the plot twist that you do now, I love a good plot twist when it's been in front of you the whole time, is listen to the boss fight music of Knuckles. And listen to a melody in there. And know that it's the melody, that's a certain melody that's been inverted. It's the same melody, but instead of going down the scale, it's going up the scale. And even if you're not a musician, just go back and listen to it, knowing the plot twist, and you can hear that the reference was teased at you the whole time.
I have to go back and listen to that.
Cool. That's my tease.
I'm excited to go back and pick this apart here. All right, so let's head over to the mailbag here, and I'll go ahead and start us off here. Noah, did you want to read any of these?
Oh, I haven't been looking. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, because usually what we do is we just kind of go around the table here. So in this case, it'd be me, and then Cirrus and Wayne. And if you wanted to join in, then you can read one as well. Otherwise, we'll just read them and then direct the questions at you as necessary.
Cool.
Whatever you
Y'all
want to do.
can just read them.
Okay, cool. All right, so first off, with Jamal, $2. Happy B Theory Friday, Milk Bro Forever Wall. Thanks to our Paul Jamal.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah. Cirrus.
Next one we have is from Mr. Krabs. Pup Space Arc, also greeting from Mexico too.
Where are you usually
Maybe
from, Mr. Krabs? That's it. You on an adventure? Good for you, dude.
We also got Otis Small with $5. Sorry, Sunset Civilians. Ya boy here. Pup has to go to space until his NIDS is cured.
Oh, and he's got
SAT
NIDS.
reference.
He's got NIDS.
Hopefully, that will be before next Friday.
Or, he'll get shot and then... Or maybe he'll be the one sent back to blow up the world. I don't know. Maria.
He promises you revenge.
How much of that do you think is going to be in Sonic 3? Legitimately.
I don't think, man, I don't think we're ready for it yet. I think it's too soon to do Shadow. It's like Harry Potter didn't start getting dark till number 5, man. Like, we got a ways to go.
I don't think... Look. I just don't think the Sonic franchise is going to get that dark again, period. I don't think that they're gonna... I don't think they're gonna shoot a child. I don't think they're going to shoot a child. I'm standing by that.
I want to see her bleed on the screen.
Yeah, Cirrus.
I need to see a body.
I want my R-rated Sonic game. I'm a teenager with too many hormones.
He should kill Eggman, finally. It's time.
Yes.
And also say big oop, though.
Big oof, Eggman, please.
I am very how they handle Shadow is very important to me.
Yeah, I know. I fucking
ways.
know. You're a Sonic Adventure 2 fan. All of you. You all just like Shadow. Just admit it. Yeah. That's all you guys like.
Look,
I love Shadow.
I can't help it that we're all correct.
The thing is, what is important for me to say too is I like Shadow in Sonic Adventure 2.
Wait,
I was going to say that's the only game that character has existed in. Somebody else has stolen his name in the entire rest of the franchise.
Okay, then I think we're all in agreement here.
I think he's just fine in other games.
I think he's a fine character. He's just not Shadow from Sonic Adventure 2.
I'll tell you this. You know what's actually really funny is my other favorite appearance of Shadow is Sonic 06.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because you're a Shadow fan. I know.
Oh my god.
06 Shadow's really good.
Yeah. I've been
told. That's just really funny to me.
A couple
you've
times.
Been told. Sorry.
A couple
I didn't know I was just repeating the... I feel like I'm right now. I sound like the guy that tweets. I feel like I'm the only one that, and then tweets something very.
Am I the only one?
We are post 60 episodes. Yes, you are.
It's just like how Pup is the only fan of Sonic Unleashed.
The only one.
The only one.
He's the only one.
For real though, Shadow's characterization in those games is pretty baller. All right, Noah, you get that Jordo.
I would. Who?
In the mailbag here, he did not even give you words, so have fun with that.
What? Hedgehog toot? Go fast?
I mean, I guess it's supposed to be going fast, but every time Sega uses it, I just imagine it's a blue ball farting. So
I just see that and I'm just thinking toot toot Sonic Warriors.
Yeah. Hey. Well, that's what he should have done was 2 clouds and then a Sonic. Toot toot Sonic.
I'm just gonna end my videos instead of toot toot, we just have 2 farts. 2 actual farts. Just real squeakers.
Let's not and say we did.
All right. OzJam H with $10. Thank you, dude. Hey, dudes. Nothing crazy today, but just wanted to say instead of chili dogs to consume, try pizza today as you want to watch the Rise of the TMNT movie today. Signed, a guy who doesn't eat neither. You kind of there's a double negative in there. Then he calls up, P.S. Yo mama. Thank you, dude. Yeah, no, I actually have never finished Rise, but I know the new movie's out. I got through season 1 2 nights ago, so I'm gonna watch some more of it because I'm enjoying the living hell out of that show because I really want to see the movie.
What are you guys' thoughts on 2003 Ninja Turtles?
2003. I love all Ninja
Thought it was good.
Turtles.
Cool.
I
I really love that series. That
I've seen
series
it.
will play a big influence in my next game, not Sonic related.
I'm excited to hear more. No, 03 is great, and I think a lot of old fans were gonna like it anyway because it's just the Mirage comic. That's all it is. Like it's more true to the source material of Ninja Turtles than the version of Ninja Turtles that everybody from my generation grew up with.
I think actually it's not just the Mirage comet. It's like a good, it's like a decent balance. Like it knew what everyone's perception of Ninja Turtles was and didn't make it so foreign. You know, like they still cowabunged and everything else. They just put most of it on Mikey, right, and let him be the
Yeah. No, like that was a beautiful balance. Yeah, no, I enjoyed. There's not a Ninja Turtle cartoon I don't love. I've grown up loving every variation of those characters. Next Mutation and Michael Bay versions aside, but I mean that's not an uncommon opinion.
I feel like I'm the only one that. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you the only one?
I do literally feel like I'm the only one that likes Venus, so that's just. It's another turtle. How am I not supposed to like that? Anyway, Cirrus.
I don't even know which one we're on right now.
Crimson Rose.
Crimson Rose. Here we go. This is the look. Normally I am on this. Today I am not. Crimson Rose. Thank you very much for the $10. Hey guys, Sunset City has been my favorite podcast for a while, so here is some money. Sonic is cool, I guess.
Thank you, Crimson. We appreciate it.
I guess he's kind of okay.
Oh my! All right, so we got we got Panel Chup with 10 pounds, 10 fake dollars. Noah, you do amazing work from what I've seen. I can't wait to play for myself. And the rest of you boys, I bet this 10 euros that you won't be eaten by a skeleton by the end of the episode.
I'm not taking you on that bet because I'm not going to that effort. I'm not doing that.
You're not doing it?
No.
Channel Pup, like the YouTube channel Pup.
Like
he's
our
our
co-host.
He's our third member.
Oh, that's what you've been talking about this whole time. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I watch some of his stuff. I'm actually, that's pretty cool. I like all his. I love Sonic, and then I really love Spider-Man. So Channel Pup's right up my alley.
Yeah. That's our boy.
That's our boy.
So
we got to have you guys on next time together.
Cool. I'm glad that you like what you saw, and I do hope you play it, man. I was actually that you were one of the people when I was about to release the game where I was like, I hope Channel Pup does this. So yeah,
that's awesome. Of all the guests for him to meet,
the one that he wasn't here for,
he up in space, getting offended about me talking about Mario 64 on his behalf. All right.
Am I the only one that likes Channel Pup?
Am I the only one that likes Mario 64? As quoted by Channel Pup.
Sonic Unleashed?
I'm the only one that enjoys video games.
All right. Let's see. Whose turn is it? I think it's Noah. Is it your turn?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Crimson Rose. Will you guys ever be doing a stream where you play Sonic Shuffle? Will you, boys?
Can we?
I guess
do that.
We will now, and we'll find a way. Maybe through an emulator.
Like online capability, is that a thing? Have fans gone to that effort? Are they that sick and deranged?
Would they want to go through that much effort for Sonic Shuffle?
I mean, somebody's remaking Sonic 06. Noah here remade Triple Trouble.
Hey, so Noah, I just figured out what your next project is.
Oh, okay.
Make Sonic Shuffle.
I told you it was Ninja Turtles related. Wait, what?
Oh, I don't care whatever else you're doing. Ninja Turtles. Oh, yes.
Oh. It's not actual Ninja Turtles, just so we're clear. I'm done with fan games.
Oh, that's fair. You should put an actual turtle in it, though.
Battle Turtles.
Battle Turtles.
Battle Turtles,
for the Wii.
Ninja Toads.
Teenage Mutant Needle Teetles.
Do you guys have Battletoads?
I hate
Do you guys
so
have Battletoads for the Wii?
I hate you guys so much. I was working at GameStop and I actually got that call occasionally.
I'm glad. I've gotten that call too in my non-GameStop used game store, like years after the Wii stopped being relevant.
Battletoads for the Wii?
It was this dumb like meme that circulated for a while where everybody was just like they would call up GameStop. It was a prank call, and it was, "Hey, do you guys have Battletoads for the Wii?" And people would just get confused because that's not a game that has ever existed. And so
Right.
people would be trying to figure out if they do or do not have this game available, and then getting confounded because they couldn't find the title, and they're just getting like super confused and shit. It
What
was
a
just
stupid meme.
it was just like, yeah, my job in retail sucks ass. Please, by all means, make it suck a little bit more. Thank you.
Well,
Sorry, I have feelings about this stuff.
You're not allowed
Okay.
to have feelings.
Wayne, this is a safe space.
Wayne, you're allowed to feel your feelings.
I stopped feeling a long time ago. No.
There's my
You
shadow.
you should just be that Wawa employee then.
Oh no.
You're allowed.
Anyway,
Forgot
Nick, I
about
think
that.
you're up
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the next one.
With Junior
Yeah.
Reed, $5. This is a question for Noah. Was Mecha Knuckles from Sonic Advance ever considered for the antagonist role instead of Metal Sonic?
I think of when I first started this project in 2017, that may have been something I considered when I was trying to put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Metal Sonic. The reason why Metal Sonic plays such a bigger role in my remake is because he is in the original game, right? Where
Yeah.
Mega Knuckles wasn't, but Metal Sonic's already there. So again, in that spirit of not conflicting with the original game, he's one of the puzzle pieces that's there. How can we use that puzzle? So
I
Hope
did
that answers
mention
your
that
question.
myself while I was playing the game yesterday, but if you had thrown him in there, like that would have kind of completely ruined the whole point of trying to make this all line up with the other games that are already in there. Because then the reveal of him later in Sonic Advance. I mean, you could explain it away, but it's also just, I don't know. I feel like that would have just kind of been double dipping on that particular idea of using
that was the
Yeah.
most common guess and theory I got when people were asking what Knuckles' role was,
right.
but which I'm glad I didn't go with it because apparently that was too obvious.
I'm glad you didn't either because his design is garbage compared to Metal Sonic. So no, but for real though,
Okay.
it's I don't know. I'm excited to see him in IDW. But yeah, no, like the more I thought about it, because yeah, that's where my brain went to first. But yeah, like you took such great care of making this make sense in the canon of the mainline games, and
Yeah,
taking
and referencing later Sonic games, right?
very
So
subtly,
like Sonic
yeah.
Heroes.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
And I've
like
had-
that's what Cirrus noticed the very first time we saw that happen. Like Cirrus, yeah, it was like Sonic Heroes.
Right.
I couldn't say it the first time because when I encountered it, you hadn't gotten there yet, and I didn't want to spoil it for you. But yeah, as soon as you got the like that point, I was like, oh my god, they brought this in. This is amazing.
Right. So the cool thing is that in my mind, with this being the hypothetical 95 Genesis game, it's kind of a weird thing, but it's like, so when that happens in Heroes now, that's not the first time it happened. That's a callback, right?
Yeah. It also makes things
game-
a little. It makes things a little strange in terms of like IDW Sonic going forward because that's on the one hand that's a thing that happened in the Sonic OVA. It's an aspect of what that character can do, but then like in IDW they kind of shift that over to his Neo form as like this is when he's able to do this type of stuff. So it's in a weird middle ground between those two things, but I still like it. Like I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Glad you thought so.
Yeah. The next one we have is from Mr. Terry Chaos. At Crimson Rose, they'll need to do a whole Klonoa stream to recover from that horrific
In
experience.
regards to Sonic Shuffle.
Yeah.
We also have Troibles Noibles with $4.99. Ask Noah. God damn it! Ask Noah what a sound font is. I'm sure he'll love the question. But for real though, amazing job on Noah and the rest of the team for triple treble 16-bit. Although I guess we kind of already gone over that.
I didn't
particular
ask you.
topic.
I didn't ask you this, and I've been meaning to, Noah. How many people altogether worked on this? Or is that even a
I don't have the
comprehensible-
count.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Go to the credits, start counting. Because
Yeah.
it's, you know,
The credits are long,
I-
man. Yeah.
yeah, it's because there's a lot of people that just helped with like one little thing, right?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of people, but like, my main thing was, I think the biggest contribution, because everyone that's a playtester in there, everyone that worked on the comic, I put in there. Like I put everybody in the credits that I could think of.
Yeah.
And I'm still adding more because I actually totally forgot some, so I'm making sure to put them in the next patch and stuff. But yeah, the game is really probably 90% me, and for most of the development, I kept the team as intentionally small as I can, because that's another thing that I think goes wrong with Sonic fan projects is there's too many cooks in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
So it was really me and D Light Years for like the whole 5 years. She was the lead artist, and then some other artists, DVD and Dolphin join, and then last year we had Comic Jojo, Michael Wave, Jossie Flip, and Emma. Senpai Star all help out as well. They came in with like in the last year or so and type of thing. That was the biggest department where I had the most help was art, because I'm not a very good pixel artist, right? And then yeah, and also second after that would be music. Obviously, I did most of the music, but there's so many great Genesis musicians out there like DV2 and John Tay. How could you not use those guys? So they helped out. They helped me out a ton by making the couple tracks they did, because I think what was really important to me is when you make an Act 1 track, you've kind of done everything you could kind of do with that track, and now you have to do it again but different for Act 2. So that's where I would utilize a guest musician the most. It's like bring in somebody else. They have a different perspective, being a different human. How would you remake this Game Gear track in Genesis form? And kind of just let them do that. So hope that kind of answers the question in a roundabout way.
No, it does. It's because I'm I'm completely foreign to all this stuff. So I mean, it's good to know. Like we rarely see these fan projects get to a complete point like this, and certainly not in such a tight package like this. So yeah, man,
Not as polished of a state.
yeah, this is really, really good.
Thank you so much.
Let's carry on.
And thank you, Trey, as well, for saying
No,
amazing job.
no, that's illegal. We don't thank Trey for anything on this show.
We cannot humor Trey.
Trey's not allowed to feel good.
I will humor him if he's saying nice things about me.
That's the thing. He's lying. I'm kidding.
Well, I will pretend to believe him then.
We're gonna speak
There
for
you go.
we're gonna speak for everybody that can't speak for themselves on the show when they're not here. That's the
Apparently,
name.
that's what y'all do around here.
That's the name
Yep.
of the game. That's 100%. It's fine. It's
That's
Trey.
exactly
He doesn't
what
have
we do.
feelings. It's fine. Okay, where are we? I think we're back at our good chum Jamal with $2. Hashtag bring back Hypersonic Turbo Tails and Hyper Knuckles. I don't know if I personally need back Turbo Tails, but I'm with you with the rest of those homies. Turbo Tails is a weird one.
With the flickies.
No. That's Hyper Tails
Oh.
now. Used to be Super Tails. Turbo Tails is an Archie transformation where he just gets like a
Oh.
deeper red color and he gets a cape.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Is this a Pinder's joint?
I'll get into it eventually. I'm
Okay. The video's on the way, I'm sure.
tired. I don't want.
It's okay.
It's.
We can move on.
Let's
Shall we
on.
move on?
Let's move on.
It's
Let's move
it's
on.
okay to be tired. It's okay to hurt Nick.
Read the damn thing.
This-
Sorry.
Sure, I'll read the damn thing. There, I read it. This one is from Carnew Pinion. Thank you very much for the 25. That is probably a fake currency in some RPG. I want to say that I was very impressed by DV2 making Genesis music. I know him for his SMS remixes, so he did an amazing job with the remixes on the game.
He 100% did. Just the ones that come to my head that he did, I know, is like Meta Jungler Act 2. He did a wonderful job of the Sky Sanctuary remix for the intro stage, which then phased into this very ambient Echo the Dolphin-esque
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
And then I think he called it his magnum opus is Atomic Destroyer Act 2. If you listen to that
That
may
one's
be
really
the best
good.
song in the game.
I mean, it's up there for me, for sure.
He used every single Genesis trick in the book on that song. He left no stone unturned. Like, he ripped that soundtrack out of the machine and blessed it.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that too, because there were a couple spots in the game. Because I did mention previously the special stages, and yeah, I forgot about that track specifically. I was thinking that the Genesis probably couldn't pull that off, but that's
Part of the
incredible.
reason. No, his music, DB2's music specifically, because of how he made it, you can burn it to a ROM and play it on a Genesis. Like, it's
That's amazing.
like, straight up. You can't do that with mine because of the tools I used, but he used a tracker that can just go straight to Genesis. So it's incredible. And that's part of the reason why I was okay with Atomic Destroyer being so long, is just to make sure everyone heard his song.
That's amazing.
So good.
All right.
It was definitely a long level, but it felt good.
Much better than the original game. So much better. Wayne, I think it's your turn.
I think I just went, actually.
Did you read the music one?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Troibles, Noibles.
Yeah, it's your turn
Wait.
again.
My turn?
Wait, no, hang on. Did I completely skip Noah with Jamal?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Did you?
I think
It's okay.
did.
I can read the next one. It's all good.
We do this a lot.
This is
where
from
are we? I'm confused now.
Zygarde
You're on
Legged.
Zygarde.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey guys, I've been playing Triple Trouble 16-bit, and I really enjoyed it. And I also finished Sonic Unleashed today as well. Awesome.
Good for
That's
you, dude.
cool.
That's
I'm
awesome.
glad you really enjoyed it.
Good games.
Indeed.
Cool. Are you the only one that likes Unleashed, though, Zygarde? I just wanna know.
Oh, that's
The
not
only
possible
one?
because Channel Pup is the only one that likes Sonic Unleashed.
No. He only likes Mario 64, Wayne.
Oh God, fucking damn it!
All right. I guess I'll just say AKA Shoten, $20. Thanks, man.
Woo!
The next one we have is from Mr. Krabs. Thank you for the $1.99. Also, Wallace Adventure Season 2 coming soon by me.
All right,
Awesome
buddy.
Adventure 2.
I'm gonna say this real quick. With as much love in my heart as my cold, dark, decaying soul will allow, you don't have to, bud. You don't have to. Not necessary. So it's okay.
All right. Where are we at? I think, Wayne, it's your turn, isn't it?
I believe it is. We've got infamous.jpg with $49.99
Thank you,
with
dude.
chickens.
Just 3 chickens.
Roosters.
Thank you.
Those are not roosters.
Cuckoos.
They were
Cuckoos.
cuckoos, yeah.
Cluckies.
They cuckies.
Chokey's chicken.
Duckies.
Chewy chicken.
Chewy chicken, yeah. Oh, that's what it was called. I think it was originally supposed to be called Chokey's chicken, and then
I've
the
seen
executives
episodes
had-
where it was Chokey's chicken in there.
It's Choki's chicken until Steven Hillenburg from SpongeBob Fang took over.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then-
okay.
That man has a conscience, so he toned it down a little and changed it to Chewy chicken.
As I always assumed it was just some executive at Nickelodeon
Yeah, I
came in
did too.
and one day was just like, "What in the hell were you thinking?"
So it was,
Yeah, Steven seemed like a wholesome guy, so I think that was probably his choice.
Yeah.
that's amazing. All right. Noah, it is your turn with Mr. Krabs.
Also, a jungle level that basically cityscape, but you're being chased by a T-Rex or a Carnotaurus.
Try to spell Carnotaurus. I get what you're saying there, Mr. Krabs.
Carnotaurus.
What is a Carnotaurus?
Dinosaur chase level would be pretty cool. I mean, you got chased by what? Trikes in Secret Rings, is that right?
Dinos all over. It's a jungle.
Oh, wait, I know this dinosaur.
Carnotaurus? Yeah, it's got the bull horns. Really goofy little arms.
It was in that really bad Disney movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I
Oh,
love that
yeah. Matt Damon, baby.
thing.
Got it.
Oh, man. All right, King Raikou with 5 Californias. Noah, while you were designing the game's bosses, did you have any new boss battles against Eggman himself in mind that were ultimately scrapped?
That's a good question because that's the one thing about the original Triples that's kind of weird is how little you actually fight Eggman himself compared to other Sonic games, right? You know, he's one of the big triples in the trouble, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way I kind of saw it is that you were always battling his robots, so that's kind of his presence and stuff. And I wanted to save Eggman for the end of the final battle. That's so you get those due to the original game, those 3 phases in a row. And so you sort of battle Eggman there. I did wanted to have a point in the middle of the game where you encounter Eggman, and that's an Egg Zeppelin zone when you see him copying the emerald and kicking you out of there. I toyed around with the idea of Eggman being the final boss in the second campaign, we shall say.
Mm-hmm.
But I never got past, I guess, the concept phase, so I didn't ever actually design any sort of Eggman fight like that. It got scrapped, but I did toy around with the idea, if that answers your question.
As best perfectly as you can. All right. Cyrus, it's your turn.
Yep. Next one we God damn it. Next one we have is from that Jordo. Thank you for the $5. Am I the only one who liked Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit fan remake?
Probably.
Yes. Only you.
There can only be one.
Only you can like Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's my favorite person in this super chat right now. My one fan.
Oh man.
Not Troibles and Oibles.
No, he tried to bully him with sound fonts.
Yes.
I wonder what sound font Trey like squeals in when you kick him in the side.
Mario 64 sound font.
God damn it.
All right.
Um,
Wayne.
And then we got Mr. SP with $10. I remember all of the hype surrounding Triple Trouble in 1994. It was set up as the new big release for the Game Gear, which I never got as a kid. Did I miss out?
Nope. Missed the start of
Genuinely,
this.
I don't think so. Like I mean, I remember that being hyped up too, and I was like, yeah, and I wanted to play it real bad, as I did. But I mean, I tried little bits and pieces of Game Gear Sonic as a kid, and it just wasn't grabbing me like the Genesis ones were. Like I had a Genesis and I had a Game Boy, and it turns out I was pretty happy with that Game Boy. And I don't think you missed a whole lot. You go back and play it if you want. I'm gonna be reviewing it soon, but just be ready.
Yeah.
All right. No, I think it's your turn, Mr. Krabs.
Again with the crabs. Wayne, I'm kidding. Season 2 won't happen.
Then I will scratch that out of my notes I'll be taking to therapy. Thank you.
Wonderful. Safe space, everybody.
Guys, that catches yeah, we're all caught up here. So
Yep.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Noah, thank you so much for joining us. It was really fun to actually gush about this and kind of get some of the behind the scenes for this insane undertaking you and your friends and coworkers have taken.
I'm just really glad you all liked it. Thank you so much, man.
Of course. Is there anything else you want to kind of point people towards, or should we just drop in the chat here if you guys can, like some links to is Game Jolt, right?
Yeah, Game Jolt. Drop that link to that Game Jolt. Everyone go play it. There's a new patch on the way. Should be out either today or tomorrow. Android version on the way as well. If you really want to keep up with updates, please follow me on Twitter. That's where I will post about it. And also, if you're interested on what I might do next and what my next game might be, just follow me there as well.
Oh, that is absolutely incredible. Cyrus, what are you up to?
I am currently stuck on Twitch for the foreseeable future. At the very least, the next 38 hours, but that never ends up being how that works.
Yeah, if you guys want to keep hanging out with Cyrus, he is still live streaming over on his Twitch stream. So be sure to head over there to bother him once you're done here.
I don't know when I can leave.
Wayne,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
My best. Oh, right, on the channel. So I'm working on the Digimon World video, and I'm actually making some progress. I'm closer to the end of that game than I thought I was, but the real meat and potatoes is just going to be like trying to explain to people how that game functions. So that's going to be fun. In the meantime, I'm taking some looks at like how I might be able to start incorporating more streams into my schedule and stuff like that. And I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be streaming, but I'll figure something out.
We
Oh.
believe in you. It's okay.
All right.
You
What? Didn't want to interrupt
Nick,
your
what
service.
are you doing?
I'm taking a break. I've not worked on anything this past week. I might drop a compilation in a few days, might or might not. But I just got done with 4 videos and threw them all up in the same week. So I'm really good and tuckered out, and I'm taking some time to properly put together my analysis of the endings of Klonoa 1, Klonoa 2, and then a separate video just about the basic mechanics and gameplay of Klonoa 2 without any spoilers, because I love those games dearly. But also, Noah's inspired me to actually get Triple Trouble started sooner rather than later. I want to do a proper deep dive comparison between the original game and what Noah's put together. So I'm feeling inspired to do both Sonic and non-Sonic material. So expect stuff sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, I've got 4 videos that are fresh and piping hot. Go watch them. But yeah, and just to speak for, just to get Pup's chat over here, dude. And Pup, genuinely, I am sorry for speaking without you here on your behalf. But Pup does right here. Noah, hoping I get to chat with you in the future. It's a crazy coincidence that you watch my content. I'll be more than happy to do a spotlight on your game. Yeah, let's get you guys in the same room, get you guys talking with each other, Pups. And just a charming, charming boy.
Also,
Awesome.
because he can't plug himself, I'm going to go ahead and throw his Klonoa video in.
He did just
in
put
the
up
chat real quick.
a big chunky Klonoa 2 video. So be sure to,
and more people need to watch it.
yeah, go watch his video. Go play Triple Trouble 16-bit. We've given you guys plenty of stuff to have fun with today. You're welcome. And with all that said, we'll see you guys next time.